Hello everyone. If you are new here, my name is Susan Morales and this channel focuses on learning how to follow Jesus in an everyday kind of way. Today I'll be talking a little bit about a book club that I co-host, Girl Talk Apologetics, and it happens online. It's open for women and we read books that talk about the truth of Christianity. So today I want to share with you the next book that we're actually starting today at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And if you are interested, please check out this website and sign up there. You can join us today, and if today doesn't work, feel free to join us next Tuesday. Just catch up on the reading and you'll be fine. This is the book we'll be reading, Another Gospel by Elisa Shielders. And if you're familiar with her work, she has a podcast, a YouTube channel. She is a speaker as well, and she wrote this book where she shares about her experience being introduced to progressive Christianity. And these views are actually things that perhaps if you are a Christian, you may have never actually been, come across before. Things that challenge what she describes as historic Christianity. Views that have been held by the Christian church for many, many years now. And so she's going to be sharing about how she came across these teachings that really challenged her faith and really put her in a situation where she developed so many doubts. And she searched for the truth. And that's what this book is about. We'll be looking into this, discussing it for the next couple of months. And I would personally love it if I could see you there. We do it through Zoom. So we'll send you the link and all you have to do is show up online. I'm hoping that a few of you will join. Some ladies have already signed up, but I would love to see my YouTube subscribers join as well. And so this is the book that we finished reading in our last discussion, and I just wanted to share a few thoughts about it. I'm also going to be sharing a short clip of the author Q&A. Do you hear my kids in the background? We had an author Q&A, which is something that we try to do as much as we're able to. We go through the book, and then at the last discussion, we ask the author to join us and we ask them our questions. I'll be sharing the answer that the author, Koukl, gave to my question. And although I don't necessarily agree with everything that was said in his response, in particular to patriarchy, I definitely think it's food for thought, and I would love to hear your thoughts about what he says in the comments area. So this book, I'm sure that a lot of you might have read it already. If you're into apologetics books, this is definitely a book that's recommended by all Christian apologists, pretty much. So I was excited when my co-host decided to go with this book. And the author's writing style is definitely one that I find really, I really appreciate his tone. He talks in a way that it's so easy to just follow him. And in this book, he gives several what he calls tactics to help you have better discussions with other people, in particular people that are pushing back on your own Christian views. So the thing that I found the most challenging about this book personally is that I have always been someone that I'm so willing and so eager, like in particular online. But I'll like muster all the introverted bravery and courage that I have if I have the opportunity to like just say something also in like a public situation, like in college or whatever. Um, but I've always been a person that wants to tell you what I know, and I'm just like quick to speak, quick to share the information. And that has gotten me into trouble in the past, because it's one of those things where it takes practice and reflection and a lot of introspection to really get good at having more like profitable conversations with other people about your faith. You don't want to be disrespected unnecessarily, and you don't want to become so passionate about winning an argument that you totally forget that, hey, you don't have to win this argument. You can just put a pebble or a rock in their shoe. So you just kind of share something with that person instead, and it's just gonna linger with them. And they'll just, it's food for thought for them. And he personally says that sometimes it's not really our job to just like lead someone into a prayer, asking the Lord to be their savior. But Koukl is more of the mindset that God's going to use me in this way, and then God's going to use other people. I mean, if you just happen to be that person, then great. You say that you lead that person into making Jesus their Lord. But mostly tactics is it gives you like the skills to really think through what is happening in the conversation, and to not just let me just tell you everything that I know and it's just gonna go off the rails. And instead, okay, like really think about, okay, what did I read in this book? What's happening here? Which tactic should I use? And there's several. And so it's like critical thinking, pretty much. Critical thinking about conversations. So that was the thing that was the most challenging to me, shifting my mentality, and also even just learning, hey, you don't have to engage each time. It's not, all the pressure's not on you, God can use you for just as simple as, getting someone to think about something that maybe they had never thought about before. So that's, in a nutshell, that's my review of this book. That's what I found most helpful. In our discussions in our book club, we actually practiced. We did a little like apologetics role play with each other. It was a little challenging, especially if you're doing this in front of other people. But I've also heard from like a professor that she had her students write down dialogues, and in that sense that her students found it very helpful. So if you're wanting to sharpen your skills, I definitely recommend this book, as well as Sean McDowell's book, A New Kind of Apologist. That one is more of it like transforms your heart and kind of makes you more open-minded about just having conversations with people you disagree with. But this one is more of like, okay, what should I do? How do I handle this situation? So those are the two apologetics books I recommend to get started. So once again, if you're interested in joining Girl Talk Apologetics, please go to our website, girltalkapologetics.com, and we would love to get to know you, hear your thoughts, and just grow and learn together and share this fellowship with other people that also want to learn more about Christian apologetics and how to defend their faith and how to share their faith in a gracious and yet confident manner.
So you mentioned you have a daughter, Greg, right?
Yes, I do. I have two.
Okay,
Last I
and
counted.
and
Don't
so
ask me their names.
I won't. So the next
Kidding,
question
Lisa.
actually comes from me,
Okay.
and um, just kind of if you can give us a fatherly kind of answer to this question, is there any special advice you would give to your daughters or just to women in general who are using tactics in conversations with men? Are there any red flags, any warnings, any
Oh,
wisdom?
that's, I have never been asked that question before, and it actually doesn't have anything to do with my daughters because in my case, because my eldest is not a believer at the moment, and my youngest is on a great trajectory, but she's interested in hanging out with her friends and going to the mall and all that stuff, so she's not engaging yet. But in general, I would say this is here. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this. Even with all the leftist influence, I think we still have a very strong undercurrent of patriarchy in our culture. All right. Now, in general, this doesn't bother me. All right. It depends on how the patriarchy is expressed. My view, my worldview, my biblical view, has to do with men being protectors and leaders and providers and all of that. And I think men are well disposed in terms of their natures to do that. That obviously can be abused in a toxic way and often is, but I don't think that masculinity is toxic in itself, and that's the message that's been communicated the last 50 years. And this is why, as many women know, men are deeply and profoundly feminized, and it drives women nuts. Okay, who's the one who buys the car? Who's the one who's got money in their savings account? Who's the one who's got the steady job? It's the women, in their teens and their 20s and whatever. It's the guys are losers. Anyway, so I think that but nevertheless, I think there's a remnant of this flow, this appropriate kind of patriarchy, even though it's not in the younger generation, I think lived out in an inappropriate way. And this is not to say at all that women have no capability or role in doing some of the things that are demanded of them and stepping up and, or as I tell my daughters, man up, kind of thing. In other words, be courageous and do the tough things. And women are capable of this, obviously, and they do it all the time. However, what I'm talking about is a dynamic. So if I were a woman, I would want to be careful that I didn't approach a man in a way that felt to him like I was being pushy and domineering, because that's going to push the wrong buttons in him. All right. And and I think this culture has bred that kind of woman. You go to any magazine with pictures of models, all right? You go to Vogue. You look at anywhere where and you got angry women everywhere you look. This is the standard look of models. They will look at you. They're walking down the thing with this angry, hostile look. I mean, don't take my word for it. Just go look it up. You won't find it probably in Good Housekeeping magazine, but you're going to find it everywhere else. You'll find it, or just walk into Bullock's or whatever. They're just angry, And so this is, by the way, this mode has been around for about 40 years. I noticed it a long time ago. And so it's chip on the shoulder kind of attitude. Guys don't like this, all right? And it's not toxic masculinity. It's not like their egos are challenged or whatever. I mean, for some maybe it just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem pleasant. Just like if a guy was really toxic with girls, so gals aren't going to like that. So guys don't like that. And so my suggestion is that be aware of that And if it seems like in your conversations you're thumping them on the chest or something, they're going to react worse to a woman doing that than a guy doing that. Okay, it's not good manners for anybody to approach in that way. I can do that with my friends. You guys know Jay Warner Wallace. I can throw Jim to the mat, and he's a cop. So, and we're friends. So, no problem. But when you're dealing with other people like that, we want to be virtuous. This is the knowledge, wisdom, character side of the ambassador approach. And so that's what I would say. I would say women, generally speaking, I mean, in the culture, and I'm not talking to any of you or any particular woman I know, but there's deeply influenced by this whole thing, chip on the shoulder, angry, and you see it in the models or whatever. And so if that comes across, you're talking with a guy and it seems like you're getting his face, I think it's anybody acting that way, that's a negative. But I think guys are going to respond worse to a woman doing that than a man doing that. That makes sense. I see a lot of heads nodding, so
Very interesting.
Oh, I agree.
Made it.
Please like this video, share with a friend, invite someone you know to our book club. And also, if you appreciate this channel and you would like to see it improve, I would love it if you would consider going to my website. I'll leave the link below in the description, and you can support this channel, help out with the things that we need to buy to improve this channel. So if that's something that you want to do for what I'm doing, I would appreciate it so much. And I actually add your name on my website under the support page. So I just like showing my appreciation to everyone who has at one point supported what I do financially. I want to leave that there. So thank you so much. I'll see you on the next video. Bye.